Okay, class, this is the third video in the sentence structures video series, and the third one in our grammar week that we are covering this aspect. Remember that this will be on the test for Mouse, and all four videos you're responsible for all four videos, and it will also be on your midterm, and it will show up in subsequent AP style tests from now on, whereas I have been not including sentences like this on, or grammar like this on purpose. Okay, a quick review. Independent, dependent clauses. You have to make sure that you know this and that it's installed in your brain, because if you don't, you will not get the rest of this lesson. So making sure that you remember that an independent clause or a main clause has a subject, it has a verb, it stands alone, it's independent. Okay? Dependent clause is, or subordinate clause, has a subject, it has a verb, but it has a subordinating conjunction attached to it, so it requires more information in order for it to make sense. So if it's by itself, it's a fragment, okay? And so when we start constructing sentences and putting them together, it begins to make more sense. Okay, so we're going to look at the four sentence structures. There are four main sentence structures. This is how sentences are structured and combined together to make a complete sentence. Okay, so we do that with this series of clauses. And that's what we're looking at. Clauses, remember, have a subject, have a verb. Okay, the first one we're going to look at is this idea of a simple sentence. I highly recommend that you write down these sentences, that you do the underlining that I'm doing, that you're paying attention, that you look up other sentences, you write them in your notes, and you practice with them, because that's the only way that you are going to get really amazing at this and be able to find these sentences in your texts, find them in the AP style text as well, and being prepared for this. So the first one we're going to look at is a simple sentence. A simple sentence contains one independent clause. So it's a short sentence, it's to the point, it has one subject, one verb, so it's one main idea about the sentence. So I have two sentences here. We remembered to do our homework. So remember, we're underlining subjects once, we're underlining verbs or predicates twice. Okay? My underlines will be a little wonky just because I'm using a mouse to underline things, but it still works. So we as the subject, remembered is the verb. The to do our homework, just as modifiers, it actually gives us information about what you remembered to do. It doesn't have a subject, it doesn't have a verb. The next one, I am. This is actually the shortest sentence along with I do, but it has a subject and it has a verb. It doesn't say I am hungry, but you can just show existence with this. It's simple, it's to the point, it's a simple sentence, it's one independent clause. Okay, compound sentences. This has two or more independent clauses joined by what we call a coordinating conjunction. This is where fanboys comes in. This is a way to remember the 7 coordinating conjunctions. There are only 7. Okay, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Together they spell fanboys. So when you take two independent clauses that can stand on their own and you join them together in one sentence because their ideas are similar and they can help each other expand on the idea in the sentence, you put them together using a coordinating conjunction. And it is one sentence, it is compound, it is grammatically correct. So what we're looking for usually are commas followed by a coordinating conjunction. Okay? So the first sentence. Some of these I use quotes, some of them I don't, but with the compound ones I used quotes. Tell the truth, work hard, and come to dinner on time. Okay, so we're underlining subjects and verbs. Noticing here that all I'm underlining are verbs. There are no subjects in here because this is an imperative sentence. It has implied subjects. Okay, the subjects are there. You tell the truth, you work hard, and you come to dinner on time. Okay, now remember, 2 or more independent clauses. This one has 3. Okay, it has 3 ideas. Tell the truth can stand on its own, work hard can stand on its own, and come to dinner on time can stand on its own. So all 3 of those smushed together, and noticing the fanboys right here, the comma and the and you can have a comma here, but it's that idea of you're putting that whole series together and you're making them fit. Okay? The next one, and again, this sentence I know doesn't make sense, but it has an eagle in it, so I thought it was kind of cool. You can put wings on a pig, but you don't make it an eagle. That idea of you can try and make something an eagle, but it's not going to necessarily work if you just try putting wings on it. Now, again, underlining subjects and verbs. Can put is your verb phrase. Remember, verb phrases count. You and then don't make would be the full one here. And again, we have the fanboys there. So here we have two independent clauses smushed together, being joined by a fanboys. Sometimes, and very rarely, the fanboys can be replaced by a semicolon. Okay, because it plays the same role. So you could very easily smush this all together with a semicolon instead, and it would still be considered a compound sentence. Okay, the next one, and this one's getting a little bit more difficult. So we've had simple with one independent clause, we have compound with two or more independent clauses, and now we have complex. This is where the dependent clauses are coming in. So we have one independent clause with at least one dependent clause. Okay, and remember that dependent clauses are joined by a subordinating conjunction. So that entire worksheet you saw with independent and dependent clauses together, and I was asking you to label them, what was underlined, it was underlined, you were looking at the idea that they were complex. Okay, so let's look at these examples. Because my coffee was too cold, I heated it in the microwave. Now, we're looking for subjects in verbs. Sorry, my is not the subject, it's coffee. And then was is your verb, I is your subject, heated is your verb. And then we're looking for what's joining them together, and because is a subordinating conjunction. So this, because my coffee was too cold, cannot stand on its own because you need more information. So that makes this one dependent. And again, getting used to labeling these. I heated it in the microwave can stand on its own, so that makes it independent. So we got one dependent, one independent. It fits the formula for complex. This is where math can come in. You have formulas, it works. Okay? The next one, she returned the computer after she noticed it was damaged. So we're looking for subjects and we're looking for verbs. She returned, she noticed. Now, notice here that the subordinating conjunction is actually in the middle instead of at the beginning. It doesn't always come at the beginning of the sentence. Granted, that's where you will see it most of the time, but it is oftentimes in the middle of the sentence as well. So here we have she returned to the computer. You don't need more information. We know she returned it. But after she noticed it was damaged needs more information. It's a fragment on its own. So we would label it as a dependent clause. So one independent, one dependent smushed together using a subordinating conjunction of after makes a complex sentence. Okay, this is compound complex sentences. This is the most difficult part. This is the long sentence ones because you're looking for at least 3 different clauses. So you know you're going to have 3 subjects, you know you're going to have 3 verbs. Okay, so we're looking for at least two deep independent clauses and at least 1 dependent clause. And notice it says at least, so it means that there can be more, but the formula calls for at least 3, 2 independent, 1 dependent. Now, because we're looking at independent being smushed together, that's where you get the compound aspect. You need a coordinating conjunction. Because you're looking at the complex aspect of adding a dependent clause in there, you need a subordinating conjunction. Okay, let's look at these sentences. So underlining things as we're following along. Mitchell prefers watching romantic films. He rented the latest spy thriller and he enjoyed it very much. So we have 3 subjects, we have 3 verbs. Now the idea is which is independent, which is dependent to make sure we fit the formula of 2 independent and 1 dependent. So though Mitchell prefers watching romantic films is dependent, it needs more information. It's a fragment on its own. He rented the latest spy thriller is independent. It stands by its own. And then here we have the here we have the coordinating conjunction to join the last one, making this one also independent. So we have the two independent and the one dependent. We have the coordinating conjunction, and we have the subordinating conjunction. Okay? Looking at the last one here. Let me move it up so you can see it better. When we remember we are all mad, when we remember we are all mad, the mysteries disappear, and life stands explained. Okay, so here we have 4. We underlined 4 subjects, we underlined 4 verbs. Now we're looking for things that smush them together and have it make sense in there. Okay, so when makes this dependent. So when we remember is dependent. We are all mad would be independent. It can stand on its own. The mysteries disappear can stand on its own. And that's our fanboys. It doesn't necessarily have a comma. It can, but it's grammatically correct if it doesn't as well. Life stands explained. That's our other independent. So this one has 1 dependent and 3 independent. And this is why I said this is where our sentences get long. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and throw up what I call a confidence check here. These sentences, I want you to write them down in your notes. I want you to underline the subjects and the verbs. And I want you to label the independent and the dependent and getting used to that. We are not going to explain these or discuss these in class because I'm actually going to use these as questions here on the video. So, but I still want you to write them down so you're getting more practice with them and you're getting more practice seeing the complexity of quotes being used and what we're looking for, because you're going to start using quotes in your examples as well. Okay, so go ahead and pause it, write down the sentences, work with them, and then come back and answer the questions. Okay, I'm going to pause here for a minute just so that you can drag it on before the questions actually start to pop up. Okay, have a good weekend, and I will see you for our next class session.